The town square of Red Hollow was a place where mercy came with a price. The sun hung high, harsh and unforgiving, and the dust stung like sin. Folks gathered for the war auction, a grim event where wounded soldiers too broken to serve but too alive to abandon were sold to whoever would take responsibility for them. Some were bought by family, others by desperate ranchers in need of labor. But one woman stood apart from the crowd. A widow in a black dress that clung to her sorrow like the wind to her veil. Her name was Evelyn Carter, though most called her the Black Widow. And beneath that black fabric, she carried more than grief. She carried a child. Before we find out what happens next, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and comment below. What would you do if a stranger's whisper changed your whole life? The auctioneer's voice cracked through the silence. Next, Union private wounded in the leg, unconscious but alive. Starting bid $1. The crowd shifted uneasily. $1 for a dying man no one wanted. Evelyn's gloved hand trembled as she reached into her purse. She had just $1 silver left, a coin her late husband had given her before the war. For our son, he'd said, pressing it into her hand. If I don't come back, promise me you'll keep going. She stepped forward, her voice steady though her heart wasn't. I'll take him. Crowd turned, murmurs cutting through the hot air. The widow's gone mad, someone hissed. She's buying ghosts now. But Evelyn didn't flinch. The soldier was loaded into her wagon, pale and bloodied, his chest rising faintly. His dog tags glinted in the sun, too caked in mud to read. She didn't know why she'd done it, perhaps out of pity, or guilt, or the need to save someone when she couldn't save her husband. As she drove away, the road stretched empty before her. Her unborn child shifting inside her as if sensing the change. That night, under the flicker of lamplight in her lonely farmhouse, Evelyn washed the soldier's wounds, whispering to him though he could not hear. You'll live, she promised, more to herself than to him. You have to. But when his eyes finally opened 3 nights later, the words he spoke would freeze her blood. Evelyn sat by his bedside when it happened, her hands busy dabbing his fevered brow. His breath was ragged, his skin clammy with the scent of war and pain. When his lips moved, she leaned close, expecting delirium. Fragments of forgotten battles. But instead he whispered something that cut her in half. I'm your husband's brother. Her hand froze midair. For a moment, the world stopped spinning. What did you say? She asked, barely a whisper herself. His eyes fluttered open, gray as winter smoke. Your husband, Matthew Carter. I'm Samuel. Evelyn stumbled back, her heartbeat roaring in her ears. Her late husband had spoken little of his family. Just a brother who'd gone missing long before the war. She'd believed him dead. And now, the man she'd bought for $1 lay before her. His brother. Shock gave way to anger, then confusion, then something deeper. Fear? Why didn't you tell anyone who you were? She demanded, her voice shaking. Samuel coughed, grimacing in pain. I didn't know if I'd live long enough for it to matter. His voice broke. I heard about Matt. I came too late. Tears burned her eyes. You came too late for both of us. Days passed. Evelyn tried to keep her distance, but the house felt different now. The air carried his presence. The same quiet strength her husband had once had. The same stubbornness. As his strength returned, Samuel helped with the chores, limping but determined. He fixed the fence posts, chopped wood, and spoke gently to the horses as if trying to rebuild something both of them had lost. The nights were harder. Evelyn found herself listening to the rhythm of his footsteps in the hallway, haunted by memories and by the uncanny resemblance between the two men. The same eyes, the same gentle voice. But Samuel was different too. He carried a heaviness, a guilt that reached deeper than blood. One evening, as the storm rolled in over the plains, he said softly, "You saved me when you didn't have to." Evelyn stared at the firelight dancing on his face. Maybe I was trying to save someone else. He looked at her then, not with pity, but with understanding. Then let me repay that. Let me help you save this place. And though she didn't answer, she didn't stop him either. The days stretched into weeks. The snow melted, revealing the first shoots of green, and with them came the slow thaw of Evelyn's guarded heart. Samuel worked from dawn till dusk, determined to make himself useful. But everywhere she turned, she saw her late husband's shadow. In the way Samuel smiled, in how he leaned against the porch railing, even in the way he said her name. One night, after supper, She found him staring at Matthew's photograph. He was the better brother, Samuel murmured. Always was. He was brave, she replied quietly. But so are you. He shook his head. I left home before the war. I blamed him for things that weren't his fault. When I heard he died, I thought I deserved it more. Evelyn's throat tightened. Guilt doesn't bring anyone back. He met her eyes. No, but maybe it can teach a man how to live better. Their hands brushed, just for a moment, but it was enough to send a warmth through her chest she hadn't felt since before the war. Dill, she pulled away, clutching her stomach where new life stirred. I can't, she whispered. I won't dishonor him. Samuel nodded slowly. Then let me stay for the baby. Until you don't need me. And so, he stayed. Through storms, through sleepless nights, through the ache of rebuilding. He talked to the unborn child as if it were his own kin, his rough hands gentle as he carved a small wooden cradle by the firelight. Evelyn found herself smiling more often, though she still fought it. The line between past and present blurred, and the ghost of her husband seemed to fade with each passing day, replaced by something new. Something she feared as much as she needed. When the baby came, the prairie was quiet under a blanket of stars. Samuel was there holding her hand, steady as a rock, whispering words of courage as she brought life into a world that had taken so much. When the first cry filled the house, Evelyn wept, not just for her child, but for the man she'd lost, and the man who'd come back in his place. Days later, as she rested on the porch with the baby in her arms, Samuel brought out that old silver dollar, the same one she'd spent to buy his life. He placed it in her palm, closing her fingers around it. You didn't lose that dollar, he said quietly. You just invested it. In a second chance. Evelyn smiled through her tears. I thought I was saving you. He shook his head. No, Evelyn, you saved us both. The wind rolled softly across the open plains, carrying with it the scent of wildflowers and rain. The Black Widow was a widow no more. She was a mother again, a believer again. And the man beside her, her husband's brother, had become something more than blood, something forged through loss, redemption and love that refused to die. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Evelyn whispered, maybe $1 was all it ever took to buy back my heart. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments. Do you believe in second chances, even after everything seems lost?